Hi, my name is Liz.
Hi, I'm Debbie and I'm a foster carer for Sheffield City Council.
I was in care for 14 years. I was put into care when I was 4.
I've been a foster carer for 17 years.
That was because my parents were both chronic alcoholics and just generally unfit to look after me.
Basically got into fostering because I was a childminder and a children's nanny before, and it was something that I always wanted to do from being about 19.
Throughout my experience of being in care, I've been in about 7 or 8 different placements. Some were sort of good, some not so good, but it was the one when I was 15 where I went to live with Debbie that has had the most positive impact on my life, and where she changed my life, turned me around, set me on the right track.
My job entails looking after children who, for whatever reason, can no longer live with their own families. I do quite a lot of training once qualified as a foster carer, but you do training beforehand as well. Some of the training that I do is basic training like child development and things like that, first aid, etc. Then there's the specialist training that includes attachment disorders, autism, eating disorders, self-harming.
For me, it would be hard to explain the negatives of my whole experience in a few words, but I think the main downfall was that when I was younger, the help I needed from the social workers wasn't there. The social workers weren't trained enough, they didn't have enough know-how, and they simply weren't alert to what was going on and therefore not able to help me. The resources were stretched, as they are, as you probably know they are today. And that was a big letdown for me.
Negatives of fostering, there aren't that many actually. I suppose you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. That's probably a negative.
Personal negatives being the obvious of missing my family, wanting to go home. And obviously that's difficult as a young child because it's just blind love. You don't realise why you were put into care until you're a lot older and the truth comes out.
You don't get much free time. There is no social life. And I have to say I don't really think that there are that many negatives to fostering.
The biggest positive for me was being placed with Debbie when I was 15. She was everything I needed. I was a pretty messed up kid at the time and needed a lot of help and support. And being that age, I was a teenager, I was still really young, still not willing to accept the help that I needed. But she was everything that she could have been. She was a brilliant foster carer and still is. And she's made me into the person I am today.
Positives of fostering, there's quite a lot of them actually. Because I do long-term fostering, I get to see the children grow up. The idea is that they will stay with me until they're 18. And sometimes longer. So seeing them, their grades improve at school, just seeing their happy faces at Christmas morning, taking them on holidays, just maturing and becoming an all-round adult really.
Personal positives obviously being getting that family environment that I so deserved for so long and I needed as a young child. That's what you need, and it wasn't that I was forced there and just put there with my bags. I went there on my own accord and I was happy, and it was somewhere that I finally felt that I was at home.
I suppose the best part, the most positive, is also the saddest part, which of course is when they are ready to move on and they move on into independence, and you can see that you've done a good job and that hopefully they'll be very happy adults.
Children who receive abuse and neglect at a young age obviously face emotional implications in later life. I am no different. I often felt as a young teen that I was not good enough, not cared for, not welcome in a family environment. But the positives of this are that it's made me the person I am today, a confident person. It's taught me that in life bad things do happen to good people who are undeserving, but each trial you overcome makes you stronger, and not to dwell on the inevitable, just get on with it.
Fostering helped children really because when they usually come into care, obviously there's lots of different reasons why they do, but they've many times have suffered neglect, abuse, and they've never had anyone safe to look after them really, in a safe environment. They're fed properly, they're clothed properly, their medical needs are seen to, and a lot of children have never had that. And so by me providing that for them, they will grow up and realise and see how you're supposed to bring children up. And then when they do grow up and leave, hopefully if they have their own children, they will bring them up the same way they were brought up, hopefully by myself and other foster carers like me. And the vicious circle of abuse will have been broken.
People ask, what's it like? Do you see your family? But mainly they ask, what's it like being adopted? And I wasn't adopted, I was fostered. There is a big difference. Adoption is permanent, all parental responsibilities go to that family, and there is no family contact with the biological parents. Whereas with fostering, it's a lot more hard work. The children are often a lot more troubled as they have no home, they've been moved about a lot, and they haven't been welcomed into the family environment that they need. This could be anything from 2 days, which is short term, up to 2 years and beyond, which is permanent. Also with foster children, they remain to have contact with the biological families, which can prove very troubling for the children and the people that have to care for them.
When I tell people I'm a foster carer, the first reaction is usually quite a surprise. I suppose it's because there's so few foster carers really that when somebody does say that that's what they do, it comes as a surprise because they probably never met a foster carer before. I think they find it a difficult job, which of course it is, but I don't think people realise how fulfilling a job it is as well. So, you know, I'm not some angel or special person. I think not everybody can foster, obviously, but it's not as difficult, I think, as people seem to think it is.